always a hope. Rise and fight.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to BSL15 Asia Championships Grand Finals. I am Machine, and joining with me for today is going to be my co-host here. We got Nyokin. What's up, Nyokin? How's it going, man?
What's up? I'm doing good, and I'm excited for the finals. We've got DuGu, who's like undefeated through the winners bracket, going up against Zhanhun, who took down the one and only Mihu. We were calling it that he was going to be a real force to be reckoned with in this tournament, and he proved it, making it all the way to the finals.
Yeah, making it through some very tough opponents as well, right? Like taking out the previous BSL champion, even Mihu, who we expect. I mean, I personally expected to see in the finals once again, right? Like he's widely considered the best of China. So Mihu, although unfortunately being knocked out prior to making it to this grand finals, and as you mentioned, DuGu, quite a strong Zerg who I am, prior to these events, very just not familiar with. He just seems like a incredible Zerg player that's kind of come out of nowhere, and has kind of beast moded his way through this ladder in multiple 3-0 fashions here, going up against the best of what China has to offer. So yeah, man, he's going to be going up against Zhanhun. This is a Zerg versus Protoss matchup. I'm super excited to get this one kicked off.
Yeah, and we've got interesting map choices from the get-go. It's going to be Butter first, and then after that, it's going to be the other two-player map. So we've already seen fireworks on Butter. I'm expecting to see fireworks again. Like, there's almost... Can you even think of a game where somebody was not aggressive in the openers? It feels like every game is either proxy gate or double gate or cannon rush. Like almost every game is 9 pulls. Almost every game is just somebody's mega all in. So I think we're gonna have fireworks even from the get-go.
Yeah, it's been surprising to me. And you mentioned these two-player maps are being picked quite a bit. Butter, we've already seen some pretty interesting cannon rush where Protoss sends a probe out, early, hides it behind the Zerg's natural, sends a second probe out that's on the normalized scout timing for Protoss, and gets a couple cannons off. And man, it is really just insanely difficult to for Zergs to deal with once it gets up. But you know what? I think at this point, the cat's kind of out of the bag. I wouldn't expect that build in particular to work against DuGu here. He's probably seen it by this point, but that's not to say Zhanhun doesn't have something else lined up. He could be gateways in the main, like we've seen him do against some of these Terrans. He's got some options here. But yeah, it seems like we are ready to get underway in this best of 7 series. It's going to be DuGu versus Zhanhun, game 1. Let's see it. And spawning at the top right in this grand finals, he is the red Zerg, DuGu.
Yep, and in the bottom right, the Mihu Slayer, it is Zhanhun. And as I say that, I also remember DuGu took out Mihu in the winners bracket. So we've got both of the Mihu killers facing off versus each other. Of course, I'm paying a very close attention to probe movement because of all the shenanigans we've seen on this map in particular. So far, nothing abnormal. That may even be an in-base pylon. You can see it's going to get there. Okay, it's pretty much on time. Sometimes I see Protoss players kind of misplace their pylon. It's not just, lower tier. I've seen Bisu even rally like his probe, and it gets down at like 150 minerals when obviously it only costs 100. But this time around it was on time, and we do have 9 pull from DuGu.
Yeah, I'm not super, so I kind of am surprised to see this, but with all the aggressive play we've seen so far from these Protosses, maybe DuGu just feeling, a little safer, going ahead and getting that pool down early enough. And Nyokin, is this what we were talking about?
I don't think it's a cannon rush. I think this is a fake, but
really, I think it's a cannon rush.
You think it's going to be the same thing again? Oh my god! Wow, it is.
Yeah, I don't know what I can't think of another reason to put that there. So, really, we're just gonna have to see if DuGu ends up scouting this. I was just saying, I don't think that this would work, against DuGu because he's probably seen this by now. But we're just gonna have to wait and find out here in a second. Drone moving to that natural, looking to take that expo.
Where is it?
Does that not see it?
Oh, he does see it.
He does see it.
He does see it, but does he see it? Was he really paying attention? Oh, I can't believe that was out of vision for so long. Now, if you remember, I made comments about the hatchery not being denied, and he does not realize that this is... I can't believe it. This is the 3rd game, basically in a row, that we're seeing it.
Yeah, this is bizarre.
I think those 2 lings are going to find it. I really do. I really think he knows that it's there.
Yeah, he's almost like fainting that it's not there so that he builds a pylon. I think you're right. Yeah. I think you absolutely called it. Zerglings, though, still going to possibly get inside the main here. Not sure why the Overlord ran over the cannons, but this is a very nice run by to kick things off here from DuGu. Unfortunately, sacrificing that first Overlord, but once again, did catch that cannon rush. Will be able to prevent that. And yeah, this is looking pretty good here for DuGu so far, I'd say.
Well, the question for me as a non-Zerg player is how many larvas does he have banked up? Because losing that Overlord, okay, doesn't have that many banked up. Like, if there were 3 sitting there that he couldn't use, even though he gets the 3 lings, and that was a huge loss of the Overlord because he's still supply blocked. But at the same time, Zhanhun was not anticipating losing his pylon either, so he's supply blocked too. So both players going to be blocked pretty heavily for a bit of time. Now that's a blue dot at the top side of Zhanhun's base. What is that? Is that another pylon? Is that a probe that's misrallied?
I think it's a misrallied probe. I think that was his scouting probe or something like that he was sending back. Yeah, hopefully he catches that. Wow, amazing probe pulling though. He did that very well. One does fall though. Only a single half HP Zergling left. And this is two hatch layer from our Zerg, so most likely going to be getting into that Spire tech here in a second.
Yeah, Zhanhun's in big time trouble. Look at that. His gateway isn't even done. Like, he hasn't even started mining gas, and the Spire's going up. Look at that, halfway done gateway versus a Spire going up. And remember, not only did Zhanhun lose his first probe, he lost the second one that's hidden. Now he's not even thinking about scouting again. He may have been with that probe that's still at the top side of the base, not doing anything. Now he sends out a 4th probe. So this is 4 probes that have essentially returned nothing for him, and he has no idea what DuGu's doing right now.
Ling speed has completed for that Zergling inside the main, which has allowed him to scout the core. When Zerg sees such a late cyber core, right, like core later than Spire, things are looking pretty good for you. That's not to say Zhanhun couldn't defend this 2-base Spire play, but it is absolutely going to require some very early cannons on his part.
Yeah, this is insanely fast, and that probe got picked off. I don't see it on the map, so he, again, has no idea, and this is almost like a 2-hatch versus Terran muta timing. Like, this is going to be like 6-10, 6-15, getting across the map and into your mineral line. There's no cannons. The Stargate just started. There's not even going to be a Corsair done. I think Stargate is about 40 seconds. So literally when the Stargate completes, there's going to be mutas in his base. And that's a Citadel. That doesn't help you versus mutas either.
Yeah, I don't think he's read that this is 2-hatch. is kind of how this is playing off to me. Normally, you know, if Protoss doesn't get a scout off, you send like a second scouting probe out onto the map to, you know, at least try to find a third base or not. But it looks like Zhanhun may be just feeling uncomfortable given the early position and opting to take a little bit of a risk here.
Well, Corsair's gonna start getting pumped out, but unfortunately for him, he needed, like, I would say at least 3 or 4 of them done by now. He has 0. There's no cannons. That's a pylon setting up for the Corsairs to be, you know, muta-microed. Well, hello. Mutas are already here, and probes are starting to fall. And there's, okay, Zhanhun's gonna counter with zealots, but I think it's, what, 3? Yeah, I mean, he's not even afraid of this.
Yeah, he could kill it with drones if he had to, you know. GG is called there. And that was a very quick win there for DuGu in game number 1. We saw what we didn't think we were going to see, man. That cannon rush, which has worked, you know, for Zhanhun in the past, does not quite get the job done. And a player like DuGu, he's going to take full advantage of something like that if you give it to him. So very well played there from DuGu. Good scouting, good wherewithal to be able to catch something like that. And he actually comes across with a very quick victory here in game number 1.
Yeah. I mean, we knew it was going to be something crazy, but I really didn't expect it to be 3 times in a row. I really did think that it was going to be a fake, but wasn't. And now DuGu's up 1-0, and funny enough, we're going into another 2-player map, but this time around, it's Overwatch. Can't cannon rush this one, but you were telling me yesterday you can cannon rush like any 2-player map, even if it doesn't look like you can. You possibly can. I remember Overwatch bottom right. We were looking at it, and I think you can get a pylon and a cannon in that mineral line. So I guess DuGu needs to be careful there too.
Yeah, I think you can, man. I really do think you can cannon rush on Overwatch, and why not? You know, if it doesn't work the first time, maybe just try it again. Who knows? But I don't know, man. I don't think that's the call against DuGu here. Obviously, it didn't end up working game 1. It's all right to pull out these gimmicky, you know, openers, I think, in maybe the first game, second game, kind of a best of 7 series. But eventually, man, you got to fall back on just, you know, good, solid PvZ, I think, if you're going to be able to take out a player the level of DuGu. And yeah, the other 2-player map, game 2, will be Overwatch here. Not quite as big of a distance, I'd say, between the naturals here, but nevertheless, for the most part, a pretty standard map for this matchup. Yeah, it sounds like we are ready to get into game number 2 here of the Grand Finals. Let's see it. And spawning at the top left of Overwatch as the red Zerg once again, we have DuGu.
And in the bottom right, our Protoss hope, it is Zhanhun. And I'm wondering if we're... Yeah, I know, old Zhanhun, man. I'm hoping we can get to see some one-base play. We only saw it one time, and it just got insta-killed because it was the greediest one-base I've ever seen, which was Pylon Nexus, 2 gates in your main. Not going to be the case because we already have that probe going down to the low ground. It is going to be another either gateway or forge opener. Oh, probe hanging around. More than likely this is going to be gateway opener unless it's returning minerals.
It might be returning minerals. I don't know. Can it get back there in time to start the gateway? I want to say maybe. Yeah, I think it could. Oh, but he's queued up another probe, so most likely this is not like a 10 gate. However, DuGu opening up with that 9 pool once again. It is a 10 gate. Okay. I kind of like this. We saw Zhanhun pull off this build on Butter in one of his prior series, I want to say. He kind of just plays this defensive zealot, goes into a very fast core, followed by a forge, and just focuses on getting that zealot count up. I kind of like this against overpool 9 pool openers, just because even by having that gateway and building Zealots early, right? Zerg is going to be worried about the potential for Zealots to move across the map, get some, harassment or damage done. So we'll have to see how this one plays out here.
Yeah, and I see that probe got off an extra shot. Is that all it needs to take down this drone? I think he can. He does force the drone back, and that's annoying because you can see the money was right at 300 for DuGu, so this is going to be a delayed hatchery. Not for very long, but when you rely on those larvae popping, that's basically half a drone down the drain from that single probe. Here come the first few lings, and seeing that, Zhanhun's going to hang around with his first zealot.
He left one Zergling just to defend that probe. I kind of like this play. 5 Zerglings going to be moving across the map here, looking to apply a little bit of pressure to Zhanhun. This is going to be Nexus before Forge as well.
Yep, so pretty good opener for Zhanhun, but those lings, they're looking to get by, not able to just yet, at least probe and zealot on the ramp. And it's going to come down to control here. He may try and get that straggler zealot at the top, but Zhanhun on top of it, taking limited damage.
Very good positioning here from Zhanhun, I gotta say. He's not overextending. He's keeping that probe and zealot very close to the ramp to prevent the run by. And as we know, this is only 5 Zerglings from DuGu. This is not a heavy committal. In fact, it seems like, DuGu once again going for a 2-base opener this game. Not very common. You see it from some Zergs like Beast and ASL. But it can be very strong in this matchup.
Yeah, that's another super fast lair. It's going to be 2 hatch, like you said, super low econ from him. And I wonder what he'll do once he pushes back that probe, because even though he sees the lair and you expect it to be fire, there are games where you see Ling, Lurker, Bust. We've seen it even a couple times in BSL. I remember Eon Zerg pulling it out on a clip. So if he can kill that probe in the next couple seconds, he could still see a Hydrogen, but now that the lair is basically done, probably not going to be the case.
2 Zealots moving out here from Zhanhun. I like this, right? He's keeping some of the Zealots back. He knows this is very low eco 2-base Zerg. And so Zerg really doesn't want to make any Zerglings at this point, right? Like, you want to really maximize that economy. So having to deal with this 2 Zealot move out is going to be quite frustrating here. Oh, followed up by 3 more, because Zerg was forced to pull back those initial group of Zerglings. And nice surround, though, I gotta say, from DuGu here.
Yep, nicely done, but this bridge is annoying to deal with, as Zerg, the Zealots will trade so effectively since they can just hold position right there and not get hit from the sides. That's a lot of lings to be building when you're only on 2 hatches, so this really hurts DuGu. However, he's going to get an insane engagement. That's basically the best you're hoping for in this situation, and that was a massive overstep from Zhanhun. He loses all of his Zealots for very few ling losses, and now he's got to not only build cannons right at the front door of his base, he's also got to build them in his mineral line too, because this could be a ling flood, and we know that's possible because we already saw, I think it was Josh Y just all in him on Overwatch when there was an opening.
Yeah, I was a little surprised at that. When he was on the bridge, I was thinking, okay, this is nice, right? You've blocked the exit, you've already scouted the Zerglings, and you've recognized that you've forced the lings. Like, no sense to go any further, but he was trying to get into that mineral line, trying to get a little bit of extra damage done. Wow, some nice mind games here from DuGu. How often do you see a 2-base opener where you open Scourge into Drone once Spire completes?
Yeah, not often, and I think it's genius. You know that this guy's building tons of cannons, and if he gets this Sair intercepted, oh, that's going to be painful.
Ooh. Sair does pass a couple Scourge in the middle of the map, but wisely chooses to move back. I think this is the right call here from Zhanhun.
Oh my gosh, I just realized he double Stargated, so that's a big investment. However, every person, he gets both of the Scourge, but every person we've seen go into mass Sairs has racked up tons of Overlord kills, so DuGu needs to be careful. I like how he's got +1 armor already coming, but is he upgrading speed on his Overlord? Somebody yesterday didn't get speed, and his Overlord got murdered.
Yeah, I don't think he is. I don't even know if he can afford it. Like, there's a big difference between Zerg Eco on 2 base versus 3. DuGu trying to get that air armor, which will, you know, obviously help the Overlord survive and should help with this fight, but I don't know if the answer is really just making more Muta and more Scourge versus two-port +1 Ser, you know? Like, at some point he's gonna have to get Spores or Hydralisks or something to hold this.
Yeah, he has no idea just yet because it hasn't been revealed. I'm not even sure if he'll know from this Corsair count. It's just at 6. But once it reaches like 8, 9, 10, for sure he'll know. However, look at that, 4 Scourge. That's it. That's not enough. They connect. Well, one of them connects. But that leaves the 6 other remaining, only 1 injured. Muta's going to pop out, but they got an insta-run. And look at the lack of Overlords and free supply. He's already supply blocked. He can't build any more units right now.
Ooh, nice connection, though, from DuGu. With those 2 Scourge, bases are being scouted out here, though, from Zhanhun. And he looks like he's going to retreat to his Ser rally for now.
Yeah, DuGu, I would say he's in a bit of trouble. The armor upgrade is going to match the weapon upgrade, but weapon upgrade seems stronger than the armor upgrade, in my opinion. We've got 9 Corsairs, soon to be 11, and again, there's no Hydras at all. That's the 6th hatchery, but where are the Hydras? That was double evolution chamber, actually. So he may have forgotten that he had another one. Not sure if he thought that was a den right there, but the den's only halfway done, and we have 3 Mutas. That's it, and there's no Spores on the left side. He gets 3 of the Corsairs, though, with the Scourge. That's going to keep Zhanhun at bay for now.
Yeah, that was kind of a miracle surround, I'm not going to lie. I'm very surprised he was able to pick off so many of those Corsairs with that. But nevertheless, this is going to be 8 Corsairs now with that +1, and I think this is the timing. I don't think there's anything DuGu can really do about these 8 Sers at the moment. Does scout the Mutas. Looks like he's going to be getting a free Overlord here, but actually more Scourge coming in. Not before a couple Corsairs drop once again, but still, it's too many Sers. He's going to be forced to back up with that Mutaflock once again here. 3 Overlords going to be popped for free. 4, actually.
I think it's just too much damage. Like, even if he recovers, I mean, well, maybe not. He's got a good drone count. He's got a really good drone count. If this was still 25 drones, he'd be in trouble. But now that the Sers are whittled down to 3, he's got Mutas chasing him. He's finally going to eliminate this Protoss threat in the air. But is that a DT sneaking in? No, that's a probe. Kind of the same thing, though, right? I mean, the probe is so strong in PvC comboed with the Zealot.
If he was playing against Artosis, he could have found a way to win
well,
with that probe.
I'm glad you said it and not me. I agree, though.
Oh, man. This is a lot of Zealots, though. Like you said, it seems like somehow DuGu has come on top in this air battle, but eventually, you know, he's going to have to deal with this massive Zealot force moving across the map. Zhanhun, I believe, still continuing to make these Corsairs. Here we go. Muta getting on top of the Zealots here, doing a little bit of damage, and then focusing this Corsairs once again.
Yeah, and that's a lot of Zealots. That's a ton of Zealots. It's like 15 to 20 of them. Not sure what the upgrades are. I imagine it has to at least be +1. Oh, he hasn't even started another upgrade, whether it's armor or +2 or shields or anything. That's a big blunder there, because the Hydras are already going to have +1 weapon themselves, and with double evolution chamber, you imagine it's going to be +2 weapon and +1 armor started pretty soon. There's never going to be a moment where Protoss is ahead in upgrades. So this attack needs to do damage. I would say luckily for him, it seemed like the Zealots went unscouted, but that's a great Sim City. However, is there enough?
Nice run by here. He gets through the hatchery. He's going to get on top of those Hydralisks. All of the Scourge being vaporized. Corsairs, though, chasing away the Mutaflock when they could be killing some Overlords here. Maybe a slight mistake. But either way, these Zealots unquestionably doing some serious damage to DuGu's economy here.
Yeah, that's a fantastic drone drill, though. Look at that, bugging out 4 or 5 of them. He didn't even lose a single drone either. It's sitting at 40. That's fantastic. Meanwhile, sure, there's a lot of Sers in the air, but they haven't done that much damage at the top side of the map. More Zealots reinforcing, but it's only like 3 or 4. So he's easily going to hold this. He's still not supply blocked. He's got an excessive amount of overloads. He can afford to lose a couple of them. But more units streaming in from Zhanhun.
Yeah, this just seems like constant harass here from our Protoss player. Like you said, that drone drill was very epic from DuGu's part. But I mean, when drones are attacking, they're also not mining. You know, it seems like it is going to hinder his economy here a little bit. It's just, I'm not sure who really came out on top there. I feel like they ended with the same supplies that they started with.
Yeah, I still think that this is an okay position for DuGu, though. However, it is 100 supply to 60. If it was more like 100 to 80, 85, I would say he was ahead. Now, that's a big upgrade coming in, the +1 armor. And during all the chaos, the question to me is, did any of the upgrades from Zerg start? And the answer is no. So actually, Zhanhun is going to catch up in the upgrades and be ahead pretty soon.
Wow, massive Zealot run-by goes unnoticed here from DuGu. Looks like he will be getting into the natural here, surrounding that Sunken, starting to focus some of the Overlords, but actually forced to back off. That Spore is just doing a little too much damage here. But once again, very nice drone drilling from DuGu, preventing these Zealots from getting into the main, doing any future economic damage. But yeah, I don't know, man. I feel like Zhanhun is just kind of creating chaos here for our Zerg player.
Yeah, it's just all falling apart, and 3 more Zealots get into the main base and shut that down, so he's not mining at his nat, not mining in his main. Meanwhile, that's, I'm sure, a probe at bottom middle for Zhanhun, so Nexus is going to be going up momentarily. We've got a 40 supply lead, and this whole time it's just been Zealots. It's not even, the super powerful combo of Zealot, Storm, Goons. Once the Goons come in, the army's going to be even more menacing. And now the drone count has been reset down to 32. So Zhanhun really starting to run away with it.
Yeah, no question. That last engagement went very well for Zhanhun. And like you said, although he is losing a lot of units, so far it's really just been the Zealots. He's kind of been allowed to bank these gas units, right? These Corsairs he's remaking, these High Templar, Dragoons starting to be added in. I feel like Zhanhun, especially once he's able to secure this third base, could be in a good spot. But actually, DuGu countering. Looks like this is going to be a big Hydralisk Lurker engagement coming in here from our Zerg.
Yeah, there's not that many Lurkers, though. There's Double Storm available. That's a whiff, though. There's no Observer. Okay, now it pops out, and I think this is pretty much the perfect timing for Zhanhun with the Observer. These 2 Lurkers are going to die. The Hydra is going to have to back off, and all of a sudden, Zhanhun's almost doubling the supply of DuGu. DuGu's did reset his drone count up to a high number. It's at 42, but 8 of them are rallied across the map. That's not where the minerals are, man.
Yeah, you hate to see that. A little bit of a slip up here from our Zerg player. But like you said, I'm just surprised he was able to even recover that drone count. It was very low after the prior engagement. But DuGu, really showing that he has a good macro in this series so far.
Yeah, and the Hydras are still out in the center of the map, so they're not even helping in this fight. He's relying on basically that single Lurker, and with this third base probably being breached, he's going to lose half of his production, and I think Zhanhun's just about to take this game.
Cleaning this, yeah, there's no cleaning this up, honestly. That'll be 3 dead hatcheries here. Lurkers and Hydras starting to try to stream in. Oh, I like that Observer positioning, though, from Zhanhun. Nice Storm as well. A couple Hydras being morphed into Lurkers, but I mean, it's just too little too late at this point, it seems.
Yeah, it's just too much of a deficit. You've got Protoss right on top of the majority of your production. You're attacking even uphill sometimes, and Protoss doesn't even have to commit to killing your nat. He can just back off, and then it's 3 base Protoss versus 2. DuGu may just be playing to kind of, evaluate or think about what he wants to do in the next game, because there's no way he can win this. It's 58 supply to 140. It was a nice effort, and I thought that the openers were great for him, but the Sares racked up so many kills.
Yeah, the Sares really did, and I honestly thought he did a great job microing and mitigating that. against those Sers. The engagement with the Scourge in the center of the map, where he was able to pick off 3 even after that +1 upgrade had completed, was all very good there from DuGu. But unfortunately, man, it was kind of the Zealot run by that ended up doing it for him.
Yeah, it was just too much damage in the ground, in the air. I mean, I like the drone count from DuGu, but it all fell apart once those Corsairs started stacking up. He got up to 11? I mean, he even had some good Scourge connections, but it just still didn't matter.
Yeah, exactly. And with that, our series will be tied up 1-1. DuGu obviously taking game number 1, Zhanhun with the comeback there, game number 2. And yeah, with that means we'll be getting into game number 3 here shortly, and the map is going to be Longinus. Okay, that's it's an interesting pick. I have some theories about this map. I think anytime there's a double gas third base available to Zerg, that mass muta style can be quite strong here, right? There's another Twilight map with a double gas base in the corners, and I can't remember the name of it at the moment, but you always saw Zerg play very heavy muta on that map as well. But once Protoss ends up securing a third with that double gas base, it's just game over. There's no real way. I mean, there is ways to recover, obviously, but it's so difficult for Zerg once that high Templar count, that Archon count, starts climbing so high. So it'll be kind of interesting to see, what each of these players has planned on this map that's, hasn't been around in so many years, right?
Yeah, it definitely hasn't, and I agree. I think once Protoss gets the it's double gas and it's high ground, so you're never breaking it. And it's got it has the double gas, so you've just got infinite Templars. If you have to play a style where you kind of just have to deny a third base, imagine that's the win condition for Zerg. What's your opener? You think we go 9-7-3 into a mass lurker contain and just literally starve the guy out? What would you do on a map like Longinus as far as opener?
I think 9-7-3 is very viable here. Like you said, it's all going to come down to preventing that third. So if you feel like you have a strong 9-7-3, 9-7-3 into lurker contain is very much an option here. But the only other build I can really think of is if Zerg takes a double gas as their own third and then plays mass muta. It is an option in this matchup, but you rarely see it.
Yeah, mass muta. I mean, when I play Zerg off race, that's my go-to. In CVP, I love to troll with it. It's surprisingly strong, but if Corsairs get that +2 weapon upgrade, I mean, they are just ridiculous in the air. And I've actually seen players like Mini recently end up getting Fleet Beacon, end up getting +2 weapon, getting Lurker, getting D-Web for the Lurker. So really? I think if he goes for mass muta, like you say, we may actually see a Fleet Beacon come down, because it is, I mean, Corsairs with +3 or +2 are just insane.
That would be pretty interesting to see. Normally I feel like that works because, Zerg has obviously 4 gas to 2 in Protoss, but I haven't seen anyone go Fleet Beacon and into +2, so, maybe that's the next level of the meta for sure.
Well, we'll see. Longinus, as you stated, it's an old map, so we may see some just all-ins to try and just plow through this map, since a lot of players are not going to have a lot of practice on it. Looks like our players are ready. So let's get into game 3. It's going to be Zhanhun versus DuGu on Longinus.
Spawning at the top left as the blue Protoss, we have Zhanhun.
Yep, and in the bottom middle, our Zerg, it is DuGu. I think Zhanhun, he's just obligated to go 8 gate, 9 gate, maybe even 10 gate. I don't know how many mineral patches are in the natural of Longinus, but you can see in the main, there's 10. in the main. So that's a lot of income for him. And the reason I say you got to go like 8 gate or 9 gate or something is look at that third base mineral only. That might be the most open third base I've ever seen. And you cannot build a lot of cannons there. Like, you just can't. There's no place to put them.
No, it's just bait. There's no reason to take that base like on this map. I mean, Protoss do, right? Like but you have to expect an engagement there, and your army pretty much has to just be parked there for the entire game. Just because, like you said, there's so many entrances, especially from those high ground center, areas on this map for counters, for engagements from Zerg. It's going to be quite difficult. We see a gateway first here from Zhanhun, kind of interesting. And I can see on the minimap where you have a gas in the main of the Zerg.
Yeah.
That is not standard.
Yeah, and the key thing here is it's not a canceled gas. This is going to be 9 pool with either fast lair or speed. I imagine it's for speed, but based on how these games have been going throughout the entire bracket, it wouldn't even surprise me if this is 1 hatch lair. Like, the games have been so wild that I could see that being the follow-up.
Yeah, I really could as well. I mean, we see him continuing to mine gas. Maybe
He's got 100. He's got 100 gas. Where's it going? He's got the minerals too.
It's lair. You called it. I thought this was going to be speed, to be honest with you.
Whoa.
Like, we've seen Zhanhun open gate every game, and I thought that maybe he was going to do this to try to counter like a 1 gate opener. But yeah, this looks like lair.
Yeah, I'm not sure what this is because he has the money available, but he's not using it. Now, of course, Protoss has no idea what this is. The fact that there's no lair, he's thinking that this is 100% speed. So when the probe comes in for a second scout and sees there's no lair, he thinks he's going to be getting all in, I guess. But not the case. This is just a big mind game so far from DuGu.
Man, this is really interesting. We've seen some very unique build orders in this Asia region, and maybe this is like a new meta, I mean, he's definitely having some success with it here so far. Zhanhun, though, does pick up a couple link kills there. That's quite nice for him.
Yeah, and this is definitely a mind game. And I have to say, if you're sitting here watching this and thinking, oh, I'm going to use this on the ladder, this type of thing can only work versus players that actually are thinking. Like, if they're not thinking and not building a cannon behind this, you're basically just mining gas for no reason. But at high level like this is a great mind game. However, I have to say that the fact that speed is not kicked in, Zhanhun should now know that, okay, you just didn't spend it on anything.
Yeah, I mean, I would be expecting layers still from Protoss, but it's funny because we are seeing that link speed now. Obviously, there's no way Zhanhun could know that. And if Zhanhun tries to get a little aggressive, thinking there's just a few slow Zerglings out on the map, a link counter could be quite deadly from this position. And yeah, we do see him moving out.
Yeah, he is going to move out now that he knows there's no speed. So he knows that he has been had in the early stages of the game, overly defending. Well, not really overly defending. I think he always need a cannon here. And he's going to push out with the 2 zealots to put pressure back onto this guy who really skimped out on links. He's only got 4 right now. Meanwhile, is that a 4th hatch for DuGu already going down at his entrance?
It is. Wow. Very, very quick. And I don't think we have any links. I think these zealots went unscouted, actually. So DuGu looks like he could be in a little bit of trouble here, even with that Zergling speed finishing up here. 2 zealots getting into the main. Ooh, good drone pulls so far, though. And yeah, link speed has finished. Unfortunately, that's going to be shown.
Yeah, and he does get into actually a better spot than I thought on Longinus. I was looking at the bottom side of the map. I'm like, well, he can't really engage the Zerglings that well, but not the case. He traded very effectively right there. Doesn't get any drone kills, but did he spot the Hydrogen that just got plopped down in the main? He may have.
Yeah, he might have, but I mean, there's so much going on. It's quite difficult for these players to really, pay attention to everything. It feels like. So who knows? Ooh, does get a drone kill there. So very nice.
Yep, that is nice from him. Meanwhile, behind this, Zhanhun's tech is in full force. He's got Corsairs coming out. He's got Citadel coming in. He's got a second gate coming up. Didn't get a close look at that forge, whether +1 is spinning or not. I imagine it is, and it is. It's already 25% done. But 4-hatch Hydra is the choice for DuGu, so we may see a ton of Hydras being morphed in just a second.
Yeah, it seems to just be drones, though. He might be content with just droning at this point. I'm a little surprised that second gas seems quite early to me from DuGu. 3 more Zealots going to move out, and this Corsair looking like it's going to pick up that Overlord killed. And yes, this is going to be a big supply block for DuGu.
Yeah. And this is a big moment, too, because 3 or 4 Zealots moving across the map. He's building up that gas because he wants to pump out all those Hydras with the upgrades, but he has no supply available, and those Overlords are potentially going to die. Also, one of them definitely are going to die. He wants to get both of them. That's a huge supply block. Every Overlord so impactful. That's another 200 minerals down the drain at least. And look at it, it was Ling, so he really was planning to go for a bust and use the Lings as buffer support on the cannons.
Yeah, he will not be able to do that now. We have range starting for DuGu. He's still supply blocked. With these Corsairs on the map, though, he can't feel too comfortable moving out across with these Hydralisks either. Zhanhun can feel pretty comfortable, though, moving out with his Zealot group.
Yeah, that's a lot of Zealots. What is that, 8 Zealots? Something like that. They have +1 pretty soon also. Generally, it's kicking in at around 7:30, and that means that it should be kicked in either now or in just a few seconds. Lings find a straggler Zealot, and there is actually an open main. It's just 1 cannon. He doesn't know that, though, so he does not go for it. Instead, he's just going to shadow these Zealots as they walk across the map. +1 is kicked in. Speed's about to kick in. And is there really much defense for DuGu? I don't think so. It's like 6 Hydras. There's no Sunkens either.
No, I don't think there's much. The supply block has just been too frequent, unfortunately. But, I mean, I say that. This is a lot of Hydra from Zerg. So I guess he has enough.
Yeah, for now he's going to be pushed back, but look at that supply. It's 85 to 48. And the worker count is the big deal, too. It's 47 to 25. It's not like Zerg has big eco behind this. He also doesn't even have the 5 or 6 hatches. It's just 4. So Zhanhun knows that he doesn't have to worry about an excessive amount of Hydras. And there are those pesky DTs. No defense. He's not paying attention at all.
1 DT running into that mineral only. Second one trying to get into the main here. So far have gone completely unnoticed. There we go. Drone pull from the mineral only. And Hydra's just desperately rallying to this natural, trying to get a big break here.
Yeah, and all Zhanhun has to do is hold. You can see that's why he has the cannon so far back. He knows he's done a ton of damage. The DT even racking up more kills in the natural. There's still a DT in the main too. But the Zealot count is dwindling. However, DuGu's running out of money because he just doesn't have any drones. The single storm goes off. I think he has 1 more available. Yes, he does. It connects. And the Zealots have bought time for the cannons. However, that's still a lot of Hydras left over, and he's got more coming in.
I mean, I think it's time to just make a DT to defend at this point. DT's still alive at the natural, though. Oh, yes, he's focusing down that very low HP Overlord, and yes, I think that was intentional. I think now he's realized a single DT will be able to hold this natural. Meanwhile, Dark Templar still doing significant damage at that natural. This Hydra forces it. He's got to win the game here, does DuGu, with this Hydralisk group.
Yeah, and I mean, DuGu has a big army. Like, he has a ton of Hydras. More are coming in. I think if there was no DT that's about to pop out, he could have counterattacked and might have won this game. But because that single Overlord falls, this 1 Kate Boy, 2 Kate Boys should win the game for him. He's basically not mining anymore. He has 7 drones versus 47 probes. It's just a money game now.
DT's still alive inside the main here
gosh.
with 14 kills. I mean, this is just gotta be game at this point. Zerg trying to back up, trying to rally these Hydralisks across the map, but I mean, what do? Do you wait for the Overlords the slow Overlords to run across the map here? we even have a third base for Protoss during all of this as well.
Yeah, and it's completed, so if somehow he did get breached, he could have built cannons at the third base and probably defended that way. But it's just too much. Now it's 5 DTs, 3 Zealous areas, the GG comes out, and that means that Zhanhun, he's going to go up 2-1 in our series.
Very solid play, man. I can't believe it, dude. I really thought that DuGu was in a pretty solid position there, but that Overlord block from the center, ended up just kind of putting him in a rough spot, only able to get up onto that 4 hatcheries, which we know is not very standard, just because he couldn't produce anything for such a long time. So Zhanhun, with some pretty incredible play, good DT counter timing, and he goes and takes game number 3 there, so very well done.
Yeah, really well done from Zhanhun, and it's going to put him up 2-1, and it's going to be DuGu's map pick next. Our next map is going to be an interesting pick. It's going to be Monopoly. Out of the remaining maps that we have, Sylphid, Gladiator, Vermeer. Would not have expected this one, because Monopoly seems to be a pretty darn good Protoss map. You have a concentrated attack potential, but we've actually seen Zerg players defend very well their 3 bases once they get them, so maybe DuGu's just an expert on here.
Yeah, it makes me think of Fengzi. Fengzi also picked Monopoly when he ended up going down in a series and had some good success on it. I guess key features of the map, there's a big island in the center of the map, but I don't really think Zergs think, there's an island on this map, we should take it. So it doesn't really come that much into play, I guess, unless you're maybe just going for like a mass lurk Hydra drop and then inevitably want to take the base that's available to you. It does have a double gas at least, but there's not a whole lot of distance from natural to natural here. There's kind of like a low ground area towards the center in between each of the bases that leads to a high ground in order for players to defend from. So yeah, this is going to be a pretty interesting one. Not sure exactly what DuGu sees in the map, but I guess we'll have to wait and see here. We are ready to get into game number 4 here. DuGu versus Zhanhun. Let's see it. And spawning bottom left as the red Zerg once again, currently down 1-2. It is DuGu.
Yep, and in the top left, our blue Protoss, it is Zhanhun. Now, Monopoly is one of those maps that have huge mains, so even though it is uncommon for Zerg to ever take an island base, we may actually see him get the drop upgrade. We may see him take the middle base. It wouldn't shock me, since this is a map that's very good for drops. And again, we have Forge, or we do have the probe going down to the low ground. And remember, this is the map that J-Star double gated on every single time. I wonder if Zhanhun will take that out of J-Star's playbook.
Yeah, I don't expect to see it from him. Zhanhun seems to be a very meta player, right? We've seen him go just single gate openers first the majority of his games. I want to say he's also utilized Forge expos before too, but mainly it's been that gate first. And yeah, once again, is this all 4 games in a row that's been... Oh no, we saw the Cannon Rush game 1. Yeah. But other than that, it's been 10 gate.
Yeah, it seems to be Zhanhun's go-to build, not the 9 gate. I guess he likes the slightly more economic opener. And meanwhile, this was an overpool from DuGu. Yep. So we've got early pools every single game, but I like how DuGu's mixing it up. Okay, I'm going to go overpool. I'm going to go 9 pool. I'm going to go 9 pool gas. He's got all types of varieties, and Drone does sneak down to that natural and will be able to put down their nat very easily.
Yeah, very nice recognition there, scouting the probe with the hatchery, and then running the drone back so that the probe wouldn't be in position to block it. Very well done. Yeah, I like the overpool, build here, a little better econ. He hasn't really been able to get too much damage done with the quick pools, other than game 1. So maybe this is kind of his way of just taking a little bit of a eco advantage compared with the previous games.
We've got Lings moving across the map. 2 Lings hanging around to deal with the probe. We'll see if he can knock that out while action's happening on the other side of the map. We've got third base going down for DuGu at bottom middle. Remember, Monopoly's a 3-player map, so you can take the other main, but DuGu's opted to take bottom middle instead. I love the probe and zealot positioning on the ramp, so nothing gonna get through.
Yeah, these Zerglings really just going to be able to kind of scout out that Nexus timing, see that there is no Forge or anything at the natural quite yet. Now, Zhanhun's tendency has been to go core before Forge. We'll have to see if he repeats that here.
Well, the Lings will have spotted it. Okay, it is going to be Forge, so just a normal opener. Yeah, normal opener. And we've got DuGu banking more than 100 gas, and there's no lair. Okay, now he just spins it. It went into the lair, I think.
Yep. So very, very standard play here from DuGu. We've seen him go that 2-base play the majority of the time here. I mean, even the last game was this weird 9 gas, 9 pool into gas take into fake speed, fake lair. So this is definitely a little more meta here. I like to see this from DuGu.
Yeah, for sure. And Cybernetics has started. We've got a couple more Lings coming out from DuGu, anticipating the move out in just a second. Still no +1 for Zhanhun. Remember, 7:30-ish is the normal timing, so about 4:40-ish we'll be looking for that upgrade to start on the Forge. Again, another Stargate. No shocker here, since the Overlord's in his main, and he's going to spot it.
Does confirm that Stargate and runs back immediately. 3 Zealots going to move out onto the map here, get a couple nice connections onto 2 Zerglings, and DuGu will have to defend this.
Yep, 3 Zealots, and the first Zealot moving across the map. First Zealot going to the third base. That's a wide open natural right now. Remember, he went lair instead of speed, so speed not going to be done for a while. The Zealots may be able to get some actual damage done. Oh, the Zealot did not get behind that mineral line. However, they are going to get into the mineral line at the net. And that was a drone cycle? I can't believe he would drone cycle at this moment. Great drilling, but there's only 2 Lings here, so how much damage can he actually do? Wow, that's a fantastic drill. Like, almost none of the Zealots hit any of the drones. Just now he's starting to get some real damage on them.
That was really just a miracle drill once again here from DuGu. Zergling speed did kick in, so the rallying Lings, and actually those are more drones.
I know.
By the way.
Wow.
So, kind of unique here from DuGu. The deceiving thing is really what I was saying before, the natural to natural timing on this map in particular is just so instantaneous. I feel like there's just no time for Zerg to really react. You almost need to preemptively make more Zerglings than normal. So it did force a lot of lost mining time, but still, we see that worker count 29 to the 34 of Zhanhun. I feel like DuGu's in a pretty good spot.
Well, when you've got drone control like that, it's no surprise that he's skimping out on Lings. Like, did you see that control? He lost 1 drone that entire time. That's some of the best drone selection and pulls I've really ever seen from Zealot Pressure. And we do have... Yeah, it was really, really good. We do see Sayers again blocking DuGu, but he's in a little bit of better position this time. He's able to push a couple of them back with just a couple Scourge.
Yeah, and we see Protoss researching +1 at that Forge, +1 at the core. So that pretty much tells us this is going to be that 1-1 Zealot Sayer timing, which Zhanhun really been using the majority of these games here. Oh my gosh, drew the Corsair out away from the cannon to kill it. Very nicely controlled there from DuGu.
Yeah, that's well done. It happens sometimes. Like, you look away for a second, didn't hit hold position, And oh, there goes a Corsair, or oh, there goes a Marine too, just a couple Zerglings. We do see DuGu anticipating that move out. He's already got his Sim City coming up. He's got Evolution Chamber. He's got that hatchery. He's got 5th hatchery set up a pretty interesting Hydra den placement over on the right side. But I do like his Nat setup.
Yeah, the Nat setup looks quite nice. Not sure what that den's there for, but it's all right. We have Zealots moving out from Zhanhun, though, and I don't know if he's quite ready to defend this 3rd base. We're going to have to see that drone pull again.
Yeah, he's going to have another good hold with the drones. It's just 3 Zealots, though, but more Zealots moving across the map. I guess this was to draw attention away from the natural, because here he comes again. The drone drill again, fantastic. He loses 1 drone there, but hey, there's 7 Hydras to defend the Nat. That means that these Zealots are going to be pushed back. However, drone count is getting lower and lower. He was able to drone during the first attack, but not afterwards. He's sitting at just 23 now. He really needs to build that up.
Yeah, we are seeing that drone cycle, but you're very right. He seems behind on workers at the moment. We haven't really seen the Corsairs engage. And obviously we know this game from DuGu, this is not going to be a Spire opener. You know, we won't be seeing Muta at least yet. So I kind of think that DuGu might have the better build for the situation here. Just going into that 5 hatchery Hydra play, there's not really a lot for these Sairs to pick off as long as he keeps the Overlords, you know, over these Hydras and, you know, walls off properly against these Zealot timings.
Another Zealot timing to the 3rd base. There's 1 sunken, a decent amount of Lings and Hydras though, and again with the drones, Zhanhun's going to have to turn around, but I like the pressure that he's putting on. Behind this though, we don't see him feeling confident enough to take a 3rd base. He's still just sitting there powering. I'm trying to get a gauge on how many gateways he actually has right now. The Scourge get knocked down by all of those Sairs, and these are open Overlords, and he may get supply blocked massively. This is 4 or 5 of them. Also the DT's here, so he needs to focus that down with the Sunken, which he does. That was clutch control.
Very clutch control. The drones coming off the line once again to try to do this drone drill magic. Hydra's rallying from the natural as well. I feel like DuGu is just a spread a little too thin over here at the 3rd, and he's going to pay for it. Big supply block going down once again, and I mean, we've been seeing it multiple times through these tournaments. Once these Zergs start getting supply block like this, and these Protoss continue to kind of dive bomb, it really disrupts the economy of Zerg.
Yeah, and Protosses of the caliber of Zhanhun know how to compound that lead. Whether it's going for another attack or whether it's going for a 3rd base, they definitely know exactly what they should do. And you can see that DuGu's just now coming unsupply block, so it was a lot of breathing room for Zhanhun. Another Overlord goes down, so he's going to have to rebuild a couple more in just a second. And Zhanhun's going to compound that lead by building a 3rd Nexus.
Yeah, we're seeing the supply start to climb yet again for Zhanhun. You know, multiple supply blocks have really been hindering DuGu's production here. It feels like he hasn't quite been able to drone. I mean, actually, that's a lot of drones at the 3rd, but I don't believe he's been mining gas or mining properly at the natural there. Yeah, drone count a little low at the natural, a little low in the main.
Well,
But
so
at least
the
he's
Sairs,
defending us. Yeah.
yeah, the Sairs come in and not able to get any kills this time. But look at that Monopoly. I mean, there's just a massive pathway to the right side, and it went unscouted. Luckily for Zerg, they've got a good amount of Hydra sitting on that high ground, backed up by a Sunken, so he's going to push this back. And he desperately needed to push it back. Now, remember, we were talking about how this is potentially a good drop map. We've got 2 Lurkers, actually may go for a simultaneous drop, pulling out his inner J-Yun possibly. If he can get either one of those mineral lines, he may shut down 15 to 20 probes easily.
Yeah, this could be a quite a strong play. I'd completely forgotten about it. But Overlords are loaded up, and it looks like they are moving in here. I don't think he expected Protoss to have that 3rd, so Overlord will unfortunately run over a cannon at the Protoss's mineral only, and is forced to run off.
Oh, look
nice
at that! He does not get a Lurker set up to intercept those probes though, but the Corsair spotted that other Overlord and hurried over to make sure that that Lurker does not get into position. Meanwhile, a small Hydra counterattack to try and knock down this third base. But Zhanhun on the ball pushes it back with a lot of Zealots and Goons. And he still DuGu still manages to get 5 or 6 probes with those 2 Lurkers.
Yeah, not bad, honestly, from DuGu. Big probe transfer coming into this third. Again, I mean, it's just such a low Hydra count. I don't know. I don't feel like this has ever been a really big threat here.
Oh my gosh, he's got the Sayers sitting right there. There's no way he's going to go in with that, right? I mean, do the Sayers notice, though?
I think they notice. I think he knows exactly what he's doing here. Yep, gets right on top of the first Overlord. Ends up picking those off, but actually Hydra is able to get some good connections on those Sayers. Will push them off. Ooh, 2 Templar coming in though. Storming.
Yes. Those were good storms from Protoss. I think that the trade for Zerg was okay. I realize he's going to lose a lot of his army here, but he does get multiple Templars. And the key thing for me is he's eliminated almost all of the Corsairs. And every game, Corsairs have done insane amounts of damage. So that's fantastic. And also, he's drawn all the units out of position. Look at this. He's got just pure Zealots to defend the third base. And there's going to be a Lurker contained outside of the natural.
Units rallying across the map here from DuGu. And oh no, Zealots going on top of all of these Lurkers, but they're going to fall instantly. That's just way too many Lurkers to engage with Zealots. Storms will go down on a couple of these Lurkers, though, trying to clear up this contained force from DuGu. But I don't know, man. Did DuGu maybe do it here?
I think he did do it. He's drawn the attention all over the place. Like, there's a Lurker in Zhanhun's base. Still, it's not burrowed, but it's there. Now there's a Lurker at the third base. There's just so many things to manage for Zhanhun right now. Meanwhile, DuGu setting up a massive contain, and with it, he's got another Lurker into the main, and every time he rallies across the map, he can also elevator more Hydras in like this.
I love these elevated Hydra plays. He's trying to pick off some of these high-tech units. 2 Templars going down without a storm there. So great call. More probes falling inside the main as well. And he's simultaneously attacking the third.
Yeah, this is just perfect play in how you pick apart a Protoss on a map like Monopoly. He's knocking down so many cannons. There's still the Lurker contained. The Zealots have basically all been eliminated, so there's really nothing to support the Goons. Also, the Templars got picked off too, so I don't really see how Zhanhun can ever save this base. I think he's got to mass up either 1 or 2 more rounds and then just try and go for it. Here he comes, but it's supply lead for DuGu right now.
Yeah, supply lead for DuGu. He finally is a little thin at that entrance, though. Maybe this is the opportunity that Zhanhun needs to move out. Ooh, big storm going down on a single Lurker. But the obs, I think, just got picked off. So...
yeah, and there's no more in production. Yeah, and there's no more in production. It's not like Terran where you can just scan whether you lose your vessel or not. Like, once the vessel or once the observer is gone, you've got to wait for it to build or blow a storm. And we know that his Templar count is just not that high. So the third base dies, probes are dying, and with the third base dying, well, now all of the attention can be focused at the natural, and it's just a money game now. Like, DuGu's on 3 bases, he's got a massive contain. Protoss is about to mine out their main. It's going to be 1 base Protoss versus 3 base Zerg.
Nice Zealot counter, though, from Zhanhun, trying to just create some chaos, maybe make some breathing room so that he could potentially get out of his natural here. But DuGu's just been relentless, man. He's just rallying across the map with everything he's got. He knows that he's really got Zhanhun in a bad spot here, and as long as he just holds on, he has this game.
Yeah, I don't even think DuGu needs to attack. If I was him, I would just literally scout the entire map, make sure there's no hidden base, and just wait for this guy to either come at me or run out of money. Like, he has to make the move. Zerg doesn't have to do anything. In fact, Zerg shouldn't do anything. Just let this guy run out of resources.
Yep, that's definitely the smart play here. Even though he's only on 3 base, right? It's fine. You just gotta sit. Don't spend any more unnecessary money on, drones or anything like that. Just hold on.
We've got probably the last ditch effort from Zhanhun. His main is essentially mined out. There's going to be a DT drop, and that's one way to draw attention away from the bust, but it's only one, so
yeah,
it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard to draw a lot of. It's hard to draw a ton of attention to just one DT, but we did see it rack up like 20 kills last game. However, here comes Zhanhun. Good storm right there. Hits a lot of hydras and a lurker.
Hydra's doing a great job buffering for this lurker damage, but Dragoon count is pretty big. He's starting to break out slightly, but here comes another 6 lurkers burrowing behind. Ooh! Biggest storm ever of the game goes down though, and a lot of hydras fall with that.
I think Zhanhun might have done it because there's the DT that went unscouted, and now it's in the main, and all the lurkers are getting hit. As you stated, there's goons that are in high numbers still alive. Is there enough though? Just barely. DuGu might be able to hold this attack. In the main of DuGu though, what's that DT doing? It's racking up kills left and right, and we have a supply lead now for Zhanhun.
DT not gonna be scouted, man. There's no reason for there to be an overlord there, right? Like, man, you hate to see it.
Oh my gosh. Just like last game, a single DT racking up kill after kill. I still don't think he realizes it. He's not using any of the larva. He's not using any of the larva at the net. Look at this. It's plummeting. DuGu, that was in such a big position. He just kind of loses his whole army and loses all of his econ to a single DT. 22 kills now. Oh, look at the upgrades action machine. +3 armor. Did you see that? That's probably why Protoss's goons never died.
That actually makes sense. I have not seen +3 armor before, +2 weapons before, but I gotta say, that's kind of interesting. I wonder if that's that's something new. I've never heard of that before, honestly.
Yeah, that's a long upgrade too. It's 40 seconds more over +1. In theory crafting here, I would have thought maybe would have gone for like shields or something, but regardless, +3 armor, fantastic. That was a cute burrowed lurker there to try and kill some more probes. Right now, Zhanhun is not mining. Like, look at his resources. This is it. The problem though is it enough to actually bust the Zerg? I think we're actually going to stabilize if Zhanhun backs up, but he needs to be careful about that one lurker that's hidden at the third base.
I love that lurker positioning, and he didn't even show it. Even when he killed the Nexus there with the Hydralis and the probes, he did not show the hold position lurker. I really think that's kind of a smart play here, and if he does come back into this game, it will be because of this lurker. It's still
on hold. Yeah, like why would you send an observer here either? He's gonna wait for them to all stack up. Look at them, they're all stacked. Fire, man! Fire! Please shoot! Please! Shoot. Remember, they two-shot. They were two... Oh, I thought those probes... The probes are attacking them! He sees it. Now he starts firing. He racks up 12 kills. Not as many as that DT, but that's one way to even up the econ. Now we've got 83 supply for Zerg versus 82 supply for Protoss. But again, remember, Protoss is distance mining right now. Meanwhile, Zerg is still on 3 bases.
This game's insane, man.
Yeah, this is crazy.
Oh, big lurker movement. Kind of a surround, actually, from DuGu here. Lurker is moving up towards the north side of this engagement, but very massive storms coming down here. But I don't know, man. Maybe DuGu can break here.
Yeah, I think he might. Oh, maybe just barely not able to break through. There's so many storms available. He gets almost every single storm used by the Templars, forces out a morph of the Archon. Supplies have dwindled for both players down to 60 for DuGu, 55 for Protoss. Nexus is going to complete though, so now Protoss is actually going to have some income coming in. Meanwhile, look at that minimap. The main of Zerg still not mining. However, Hydra's picking off goons and Templars left and right. Shuttle going to fall too. Templar gets popped before it can morph into an Archon. That's all he has left, a single Archon.
Oh my gosh, I think DuGu's done it. Supplies lead now for DuGu. Really, this probe line is all that Zhanhun has left, and oh my gosh, DuGu making the miracle comeback, man. I felt that DT in my soul. Trust me when I tell you, that one hurt. I think it ended up getting somewhere around 21, 22 unnoticed drone kills, forced so many Hydras to be pulled and run around, and he simultaneously broke out of an unbreakable position at that natural. I want to say thanks to that +3 armor. So, man, what a incredible game there from both our players. But DuGu coming out ahead there in game number 4.
I can't believe that game. I thought for sure DuGu had it. Then Zhanhun, when he busts out, I'm like, okay, he's got it now. I don't know how you recover from a 25 kill DT, but DuGu kept his composure and he takes the win. And it was a clutch win, a very important win, because now the scores are 2-2. If it was 3-1, I mean, it's almost impossible to win 3-0 versus someone like Zhanhun. So very, very important victory. And now we're going to be going into game 5, which is going to be Zhanhun's pick, and it's going to be Sylphin.
He is going to pick Sylphin? Ah, man, what is going on with these map picks? Like, really? I think I'm going to keep going, by the way, now. If you want to keep casting this one.
Yeah, I'm good with keep going. Yeah.
All right, sure. Let's do it. So yeah, game number 5 going to be Sylphin, pick from a Protoss. I swear, Nyokin, it is such a miserable map for Protoss to try to hold 973, but we keep seeing these Protoss do it here and make it look so easy. Or actually, no, we haven't even really seen the Zergs try to open 973 here very often. Just the one, I want to say. So I'm quite surprised at the Sylphin pick. I'm not going to lie here.
Yeah, well, we'll see if DuGu's going to pull out the 973. As you stated, it's very good on this map. Our players are ready. Let's get into Game 5 of our finals of BSL Asian Championship.
And spawning at the 12 o'clock position as the blue Protoss, Zhanhun.
And in the bottom right, what a clutch victory he just had on Monopoly. It's DuGu. All right, well, 973, we know 2 years ago or a year ago, super popular. And then it just completely disappeared. What do you think the reason was that it just fell off the map? Because people talked about it like the game's broken now. Like Zero just actually broke the game with 973.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I feel like everything else in this game, right? At first, because no one's ever seen it before, it comes across like, oh man, this is just broken, right? Like this is just impossible to hold. But Protoss learned to kind of optimize. There's actually even multiple ways to really defend 973 now. Like you do see a lot of Protoss obviously tend to go for that mass cannon into like a storm, you know, in order to defend this. The other thing is gateway openers are much more common now, and I feel like, believe it or not, gateway openers are a little stronger versus 973 because you're able to scout it at their base at such a earlier timing, but also you're kind of disrupting the economy. And even though, you know, obviously 973, 9 drones, 7 drones at the natural, 3 at the third, it's not many drones. It's you still have to manage that very closely and very well to defend something like or to, you know, have success with something like a 973.
That is very true. And speaking of gateway openers, well, we don't got one this game. It's a forge opener. So if we're ever going to see 973, this is probably the game to see it, because as you stated, gateway openers disrupt the mining, really disrupts the timing of 973, whereas with a forge opener, I mean, Zerg can do whatever they want for the early stages of the game. So we may see that as a follow-up to this 9 pool from DuGu. However, that probe did have the advantage in that fight, but he gives up an additional hit, and now he's going to have to back off.
Yeah. Still, though, nice little delay. Does end up scouting that Zergling count moving out. As you stated, this is a Forge Expo, so this will be Forge into Nexus, you know, at that natural here for Zhanhun. And this is going to be the close third being taken. This is a big, big indicator of 973. Maybe
is he gonna proxy hatch? Whoa, wait. Okay, now, what? This isn't even, I mean, this is a mineral only, and I don't even think it has like an excessive amount of minerals. Yeah, it's, okay, actually this is normal. There's seven patches there, but this is a hidden patch, and I feel like I saw this in ASL a couple seasons ago, but it was not Zerg versus Protoss, that's for sure. It was Zerg versus Zerg, actually. It was a hidden hatch. I don't know what he's planning to do with this, but what I do like is he's left 3 lings here on hold position, and now Protoss has to make a guess on what's going on.
Remember, he's already shown 2-base Zerg previously in this series. Wow, Zhanhun actually messed his wall up. He didn't leave enough room for the gateway. So he has to build the gateway behind. That could be a big factor in this game. But yeah, I really like that he kept the Zerglings back to wall. This does very much look like it's going to be a 9-7-3, but with a very close third hatchery to the Protoss's natural. I definitely have not seen something like this.
Oh my gosh, he let him in. I can't believe it. You had one job, Zerglings, and that's to sit in the nat at the choke and just prevent the probe from getting in. However, if you're Protoss here, what's going through your mind? Like, he sees 2 hatches and there's no lair, and he's scouted for the 3rd hatch. Like, does he just think it's all in 2 base?
I mean, I would. What else could it be, right? You haven't seen the 3rd. I would expect to see a lot of cannons going down here at the natural, but no, we see a Stargate very quickly. I don't know, man. I'm just shocked at this one. He's definitely going to have to get a lot of cannons at that natural. I would have actually liked to, believe it or not, see a Robo instead of the Stargate into Reaver. It's kind of a unique way that Protosses have really been defending the all-in hyper like 9-7-3s recently.
Yeah, and we saw Zhanhun even go Robo in one of the games. I think it was Monopoly, if I remember correctly. Maybe not though, but I do remember somebody built the Robo as a follow-up. However, it is a confusing there it is, as you stated, halfway done already too. This is a confusing thing to spot from Zhanhun though, because the Hydrogen's so late in the nat, you have to know there's a 3rd base somewhere. And I can't believe, think about it like this, Machine. Out of all the bases to scout, why would you go to the mineral only first? Like, you didn't even check mid-right first. He just went to the mineral only.
I have no idea. I have no idea why you wouldn't scout the bottom left expo first.
Yeah.
Like, you're right. That was the first one he scouted, and that is just shocking to me that he would expect this. But maybe this is kind of a meta build between them. It's obviously something that Zhanhun's seen before. And
right,
2 Zealots getting some good counter damage done here.
Yep, 2 Zealots, and it's going to be a full pull. And there's no close 3rd base either. So these drones have to go to the main. And DuGu just has something's going on with him in drones. Like, they just get maximum damage every time. The Zealots do very little every single time. Look at that! He even saves that hurt drone. He even passed by the Zealot like, you can't kill me, man. I guess he got a little bit too cocky there, but now we got a Hydra push, but this is 8 cannons, dude. You can't bust this.
Yeah, no way. Especially when he's been forced to keep so many Hydros at home, trying to defend 2 Zealots. This has really bought so much time for that Reaver. I mean, we even see DuGu's recognize it. He's starting a lair. He's going to attempt some kind of transition out of this. But I don't know, man. 17 drones to 36 probes of Zhanhun. I feel like DuGu in a pretty tough spot.
Yeah, and Zhanhun's doing a really good job to manage his eco too. You see that he's not mining gas, so he's not floating, a ton of gas. He's got it pretty much in sync with his build order. He's got good econ with the 40 probes. This is fantastic follow-up in a very, very dire situation, a very critical situation in the game. First Reaver popping out. Overlord, I think, barely doesn't see it, but if that Reaver can get some vision of these Hydras, he could pop 4 or 5 in a single shot.
Yeah, that would be quite good. I think Reaver is kind of the call against this hyper aggro 973. But now, you know, with the Reaver tech, you kind of have the Hydra, you know, you have the defense now that you need against this Hydra pressure. He's going to have to start building that Corsair count up against potential Spire switch here.
Yep, and there is the Spire, but this is another thing to think about, is because he took that mineral only, this can never be 3 gas Zerg. Like, this
Right.
It can never be mass muta. I mean, it can be a decent amount of mutas, but it can never be mass muta. Here comes a Zealot Reaver Bomb on top of the 3rd base. Again, DuGu on top of his drone control. He saves all of them. That's a slow Reaver, so he does need to be careful.
Still, he did some great damage there, you know, just by forcing all of that lost mining, really forcing DuGu to spread that army out to prevent any further engagements or drops. So I like this so far from Zhanhun.
Yep, Zhanhun, is that a Sair in the middle of the map, or is that an actual shuttle? I have a feeling that's a shuttle with speed moving into the natural.
Into the main, I think, yeah.
Yeah, into the main, I mean. And remember, all the Hydras are across the map, so there's nothing to defend. Yeah, that was a speed shuttle. Look at the Hydras trying to run into position now, but he's so far out of position, and finally, a good hit onto the drone line. He gets like 6 drones there. Hydras have rushed back to get into position. Oh, did that connect? It might have connected.
Yep. That was a massive, massive scarab, at least the one in the main was, and now so much damage has been done to DuGu here. I mean, this is the weakness in 973. If you delay that Spire, there are these windows available to Protoss to get, you know, things like a DT drop or this Reaver, you know, damage like into the main, into the natural. And we even see a Zealot move out, finally engaging that mineral only of DuGu. Shuttle trying to get inside the main here. He might get the Reaver off.
He gets the Reaver off, and the Scarab does get 2 more drones. Obviously, okay, I would say that that's a worthwhile trade. Obviously not the best, but he also disrupts the mining at the top right. Meanwhile, keeps the Mutalisk back, because, and that's great for Zhanhun too, because his Corsair count, I think, was lacking for now. A drone cycle, despite all the chaos going on. I guess DuGu feels like he can hold this, but I'm not too sure. This is like 7 Zealots. Well, okay, I guess with Muta support, he should be able to save this hatchery.
Yeah, it looks like he's going to be able to save it. It's even morphing it into a lair for the extra HP. That's some confidence, man. That's hilarious, actually, by DuGu. Wants to make that into a lair. Oh, Reaver dropping at the natural, though, focusing down this Spire from the Zerg. And probably did a little bit of eco damage, too.
Yeah, he didn't get any drone kills, but obviously forcing the drones off the mineral line is great. Again, another Zealot attack to the 3rd base, but there's too many Hydras and a single sunken there, so that's going to be pushed back. But he kept the Mutalisk back again. However, he is bleeding off a lot of Zealots. The Mutalists are trying to find this Reaver. Not able to find it, though, and that Zealot at the natural is still alive. He's going to come in for round 2 with this Reaver.
Wow, this is just some incredible harass here from Zhanhun. I'd like to see Zhanhun try to sneak a 3rd base. My big worry is, you know, it's kind of going to be do or die with the Corsairs here, and if he's unable to break out, I mean, he's going to be in some serious trouble.
Yeah, and this 3rd base still remains for DuGu, so it's still a decent economy for him, despite it being in an awkward position. Reaver's gonna get picked off by these Mutas and Scourge, but he does shut down the mineral line again for a decent amount of time.
Reaver moving into the mineral only. Looks like it's going to be focusing down that single sunken, and actually, yeah, finally, drones just completely going to be pulled from this base. DuGu going to give up that lair, and he's forced to retreat those drones to his new base, which at least has a Vespian Geyser available at it.
Well, I noticed that an Archon just got loaded up in that shuttle, so DuGu needs to be careful, because the Mutas obviously shut down a Reaver, but they are not so great versus Archons. However, if you do micro them perfectly, they are able to take down the Archon, I think, without getting hit. I think the Mutas have 1 additional range over an Archon, and those drones are not long for this world. Not with double splash. Let's see if the Reaver will dud. Of course it does, Machine. When does it not dud?
Oh,
there we go.
3 more. That was alright. He's getting some damage with it. I mean, the Mutas, though, they are on the opposite side of the map. Corsair's now deciding to join up with this drop combo here. And I mean, what do you do if you're DuGu? You can't slam into like 10 cannons at the natural. You got to just be able to secure a third base. He's just been unable to do so.
Yeah, I think Zhanhun's done it. He's made the game so awkward now. He's just all over the place. The Reaver's still alive. The Archon's still alive. The Shuttle's still alive. Just now the Spire's about to complete. So there isn't even an overwhelming amount of Mutalisks here. Like, the Archon can fight it one-on-one, especially with Corsair support. Here comes the Zealots synced up with that Reaver. The Mutas are still not able to take down that Shuttle. Finally they do, though, but it's too little too late. There's no more defense. Look at it. 35 supply, 33 of it drones, and there's the GG. And Zhanhun, he is now 1 game away from taking it.
Incredible game, man. I feel like Zhanhun just makes these incredible matches, right? It's such memorable games. Even if you think back to, like, you know, last BSL, some of our most memorable matches were, you know, Zhanhun against Gypsy, Zhanhun taking out Bonith, Zhanhun versus DeWalt, you know, and then even this series against Mihu, and we're seeing it once again here against DuGu. But I mean, DuGu, of all the players so far, I gotta say, he's at that level, man. He's already taken a couple of these games, and you very much can't count him out, even though he is down so far.
Yeah, for sure you can't count him out. However, I gotta say that these weird builds, well, not necessarily weird builds, but these like weird placements, it's just too awkward. It feels like he's the one getting picked apart by Zhanhun. In the Monopoly game, DuGu was picking apart Zhanhun for a while, but once the armies got consolidated, then he got picked apart by a single DT. So maybe need to just play more standard, keep everything consolidated, and bring it to Zhanhun with just a normal opener.
I actually totally love that analysis, because you're right. If you think of all of the openings that ended up being available, that DT drop that game was because all of those Hydralisks were just pushed forward, right? There was no small group flanking the drop ways, you know, trying to catch things before they were able to get into the main. Same there, right? Like, because he was able to get that Reaver drop off, because, you know, there was nothing really sitting in the mains or no kind of defensive force available at home. He's just all in on that contain. So yeah, I'd like to see him maybe take a step back here, do something a little more standard. His 5-hatch like Hydra opener was great when he did it. So, you know, it's very much going to be an option for him here. And actually, his map pick going to be Gladiator. This is going to be a fun one. I love watching games on this map. With that, it looks like we are ready to get into our next game here between Zhanhun and DuGu. It's going to be on Gladiator. Let's see it. And spawning at the top left as the red Zerg, we have DuGu. And in the top right, our blue Protoss, 1 game away. It's Zhanhun. Now, as I've stated before, this is as a Terran, I can't stand playing versus Zerg on this map. I mean, they take any base and it's good for them. It's very hard to bust Zerg on this map, and they can get a lot of bases. However, it is ZVP, but I'm thinking back to what's in the ladder pool right now, Ascension. And if you think about Ascension, I realize it's obviously different than Gladiator, but in the center of the map, you have those little ledges, similar to Gladiator, and Protoss has a good time versus Zerg actually on Ascension. So PvZ may actually be a pretty good map for Zhanhun here. I actually agree with you. I think it's not really a bad map for Protoss, because, you know, Zerg kind of has to keep their units into the base a little more. So if Zerg takes the mineral only on this map, it's a low ground surrounded by a high ground. It's a little bit more of an advantage to the aggressor. And Protoss obviously love going very heavy goon on this map for those mid-game fights, and it can be quite difficult to it can be quite difficult to defend those timings. Probe scouting in here to DuGu with that first scout, sees the creep, and decides to go into the main, confirms that this is a overpool. So things looking pretty good here for Zhanhun.
Yep, and we're gonna see a Forge, potentially Nexus first follow-up. Okay, no, it is just gonna be the normal Forge, not gonna be too greedy here. Meanwhile, Probe doing a good job to not only force 2 drones off the mineral line, but also prevent that hatchery going down for as long as possible. Pool's about to complete, so we're just gonna wait and see how many lings are gonna be made.
I think this is actually a Forge Nexus. I think you called it. So, kind of risky, right? If he didn't know that this was like 6 Zerglings heading his way, he could take some damage to it, but actually going to get a cannon down in time. I want to give the build order advantage here to Zhanhun.
Well, I thought that probe was actually going to win the fight, but instead it's the drone that wins. He's going to push it back. Not a big deal, though, because not a lot of lings coming across the map. However, this is close rush distance. Yeah, I think he's going to get in. That's the weakened probe. Okay, wait. Oh, he misclicked, I think.
Yeah, that was a misclick for sure. And I don't know if both will make it in. I think one can make it in, maybe? Oh, nope. He's just going to hold outside. So cannon just barely up in time there.
Yeah, I think that's a wise move to just keep them out in the map, because at best one's getting in, at worst the cannon hits a Steph Curry shot from downtown, takes out both. Then you have no vision at all of any units moving outside of the base. That means you're obligated to build more lings, which means that's essentially a lost drone. So I like how he just saves the lings and is going to posture back to his base.
Yeah, probably the right call here. I like that he sets him on the ramp as well, leading into the main, just preventing any potential scouting. I take that back. He just moved it, and he's gonna let the probe in. And yikes! You don't like seeing that as Zerg, for sure. This is gonna be a free probe scout into the main. He'll end up seeing the lair timing here for DuGu.
Yep, so he's going to know that this is just a normal opener. Of course, he doesn't know where the hatch is, but he knows for sure there's a third base somewhere out on the map. Meanwhile, back in Zhanhun's main, yep, Cybernetics just now completing. That's going to be a Stargate as expected, and we have the first Zealot moving towards the top middle, and there's only 2 lings for now, so could get some damage done.
Couple more lings look like they're going to rally in, and he does have Zergling speed researching, so DuGu, he's got the tools he needs to defend any type of Zealot harass. Ooh, Zealot wisely moving to the center of the map here with that probe scout. I kind of like this. He's getting himself into position to at least scout the third and potentially do a little bit of harass to it. Citadel and Stargate down.
Whoa.
In the main.
That is extremely fast gateways. Normally you're building gateways at like 6:30, 7 minutes, 7:30, but this is 3 gates at 4:30, and Citadel is pretty darn fast too. So he is going to just bring it to DuGu in maybe 2 minutes from now, once he gets his once he gets his speed kicked in. Now, something subtle to notice here is, I'm not sure if DuGu noticed it or not, Forge is not spinning. It is not spinning. So if you see this, what do you think's going through Zerg's mind?
I mean, Templar Archives, DT, not Zealot timing, not a Zealot speed timing for sure. I mean, it only makes sense. You want to be able to pop, Zerglings with just 2 shots. So if I were Zerg here, I would be very thrown off.
Yeah, luckily for Zhanhun, I would say that those lings did not poke in super deep, because he also doesn't have his nat gas. If he doesn't have nat gas by now, it can only be gateway flood, because the Templar Archive, the DTs, the Templars, they all need gas. You've got to have your nat gas, not just by now, but even a minute or so ago. So for now, DuGu completely in the dark. He thinks this is just a normal opener, and we know that's not the case.
I mean, still, he is going Spire. I can't tell if this is muted or not. Zealot's actually moving out.
Yeah, he's out
already.
It went unscouted. Look at that, no vision. He has no idea that they're out.
Zerglings moving into the natural will catch the trail end of this Zealot train, but wow, this is just so many Zealots so quickly.
It's
here.
Too late, and speed's about to be done too. So it's wait, how did that 4 Zealots turn into 8? He still doesn't realize that they're in the natural right now. That's a dead sunken, and speed's done. Like, he's got to get lings now, and he just doesn't have them. Luckily for him, there's no +1, as you stated, but it's 8 zealots versus 8 lings, and it's 3 gate production. Drones being pulled from the third base because that hidden zealot went to the left side.
Oh my gosh, this is just going horribly here for DuGu. All of the drones in transit to one base or another. We do have a Mutila scout on the map to join these Zerglings, but man, he's really going to need some incredible drone control now.
Yeah, now that's a fantastic drill. He does have 3 mutas, which is decent DPS now. 4 mutas, he's going to probably clean this up. Doesn't seem like he lost that many drones. However, he is not mining his mid-left base still. Oh no, there is additional zealots in the main, and the Spire died.
Yeah, the Spire, it has gone down here. More drones continuing to fall. Even the spawning pool is starting to get focused down here.
That means he can't build lings, he can't build mutas, he can't build sunkens, he can't build anything for defense. He desperately has to hold this 110 health. It is going to survive just barely.
I can't believe he held that. That was just incredible. We finally, though, have Zhanhun producing some Corsairs here. I feel like Zhanhun is definitely in the lead, right? He's killed off all of the tech. This third base is not mining for DuGu. I don't know, man. What do you think DuGu has to do to come back in this one?
I think he just has to power, really. Like, he doesn't have the drone count to support 5 Hatch Hydra. He can't go for like a Muta Scourge combo into the main because the Spire died. I feel like he's obligated to just sit here. If I was him, I would maybe get Lurkers. You know, you do have high ground third base. You don't really have high ground at your Nat, but Lurkers in a defensive posture are obviously amazing. And for Protoss to have gone for this attack, you know they had to cut their gas at the natural, so it's not going to be high goon count, not going to be high Templar count. I think Lurkers could be a good choice and kind of just stall the game.
I actually think you're absolutely right. Lurker Spore could be great, and it looks like DuGu agrees with you. If he somehow manages to just hang on by getting Lurkers in time to defend not just his natural, but this third, he could have a chance in this game still.
Well, 9 zealots moving out. Now, Zhanhun doesn't know that there's absolutely nothing at the third base, but if he did, and if he does hook over to that third base, there's nothing really to stop this army. There's not enough mutas to deal with the Corsairs. There's obviously not enough on the ground, and unfortunately for DuGu, the Lurker upgrade's not going to complete in time, so this is going to be dead 2 hatcheries at minimum. Oh, can he get any drones too? No.
Yeah, big counterattack timing though from DuGu. Knows he's up against the fence here and needs to get some kind of counter damage done. But Zhanhun sniffs it out, moving back with his Corsair to try to defend these Muta. Muta focusing down the first bar.
No storm, but the probes are set up in a nice position. They're body blocking the single cannon. Zealots are coming in to try and help deal with these zealots. A good probe drill. The Corsairs eliminated every single Mutalisk, and if Zerg doesn't have any anti-air defense, he could be supply blocked because here come those Corsairs looking for those overlords.
Yeah, they should be able to pick up quite a few overlords here. Only a single spore. It's not quite going to do the damage necessary to take out this flock of Corsairs. And we have a big Lurker link counter on the way for DuGu. This is his last-ditch effort at trying to pull this game out here.
Yeah, this is it, Machine. DuGu's going to try and go for a bust with just a handful of lings, couple of Lurkers. The Robo is very late, but it doesn't really matter because he's got so many cannons, he's got so many zealots for defense, he even has Storm this time around. Here he comes, this is it. This is all DuGu can hope for. He's going to try and bust through, but it's just not enough. He doesn't have enough support for the Lurkers. I guess he's going to set up a contain since he can't get through, but he's still supply blocked. He's lost both of the hatcheries on the left side now.
Yeah, both those hatcheries going to be going down at the third. Zerg economy really just in shambles. 23 drones to the 52 probes of Zhanhun. We do have a safety Lurker here, but Zhanhun choosing not to move in. Very good drone control once again from DuGu, preventing this run by. But I mean, he's just doing everything he can to try to stave off this zealot timing here. From
Yeah, and
Zhanhun.
what I like that Zhanhun did was during that counterattack, he sent a probe out, and he's hiding a base. So even if he loses this natural through some type of miracle, Zerg has no idea that there's a hidden base there, and he'll still be able to be on 2-base mining. We see that the robo is done, observatory coming in, so observer's going to be out on the map momentarily. Zerg thinks that, okay, well maybe you have mid-right, but when he comes in here and sees that there's nothing there, well, he's going to be confident that there's nothing hidden, but there actually is.
Yeah, I mean, that was just really well done from Zhanhun to hide that base. It's smart when you create those kind of openings, right? When you're moving out with those groups of zealots. He knows that everything for on Zerg's end anyway is just so low eco, so anything he can do, to bolster his own economy is going to pay dividends at this point.
Yep, another big supply block. I think that's the spire being rebuilt finally for DuGu. A shuttle is out on the map. He's going to start elevatoring into the main, and since he's still supply blocked, there's nothing he can do about it. He's forced to build Sunkens in his main. There's really just nothing. He builds 4 Sunkens. It's just Zhanhun all day this game. There's really no way DuGu can recover, I don't think.
Yeah, there really isn't. No Overlord in the main, and a DT going to be added to this as well. I mean, he's just doing his best, right? He's really cutting his economy to try to put up some semblance of a defense here. Lurker even being positioned into the main, so this will end up staving off the drop, but I mean, just by having a shuttle, he's forced 3 Sunkens and a Spore in the main.
Yeah, if you come in there as Protoss, you're feeling pretty good, even though you didn't really kill anything. I mean, that's 4 drones gone, wasted money into the Sunkens also, and behind this, it draws all the Lings out of position, so now he can easily get out of this 3 Lurker contain. It's almost a 100 supply lead for him, and it's just a matter of time before Zhanhun feels confident about busting through, and once he does, there's nothing that's going to stop him. I think that's +3 armor again.
Is it?
Oh no, it's +1. He doesn't even have any armor. I thought it was.
Well, I mean, still though, even though he doesn't have that +3 armor, there's just so much Protoss here, and it's going to be tough to kind of prevent any kind of a move out from this. Ooh, do we have DuGu hiding a base mid-right?
I think that, and that is a hatchery. That drone that got rallied across the map right in front of Protoss's face ended up just building a hatch. DuGu may think that, okay, this Protoss is just stuck on 2 bases. Well, I mean, maybe if I can hide a base, get 3 base versus 3 base, I can recover. But you can see that bottom base has a lot of pros mining, has a lot of defense set up there. We see a Muta switch coming in, even with +1 armor too. So he's trying to catch these Templars off guard, but it's just unbeknownst to him, he's just so far behind, down 40 workers. Really nothing he can do.
Another drone being scouted and pushed away from bottom left. Yeah, big probe rally going to that 6 o'clock base. Man, it is just kind of funny that mid-right hasn't been scouted still.
Yeah.
Zhanhun taking the 4th, his mineral only, outside his natural as well. And finally looks like he's ready to start moving across the map here.
Yeah, and this is an unstoppable army. You just can't stop it. It's so many goons. And the mutas are coming in. There's 2 cannons. I guess this will die. But unless the Sair count got whittled down, I don't think that this can really change anything as far as the outcome in this game. Goons pop out, comboed with the Sairs. They're just going to back off. Even if they get hit here, I think this is more than enough to deal with the Mutalist. Meanwhile, massive counterattack to the natural. There's a lot of Sunkens, but goons are good versus them.
Yeah, I was kind of saying it about this map, but Dragoons are quite popular here. All of the mutas falling, and I mean, he doesn't even have to continue moving in if he doesn't want to here. He could just pick off that den, but he's just got so much army here. He can kind of take these deficits and continue to move forward.
Yep, you know you've won when you see this many Sunkens being spammed out, especially when you've gotten a hidden base. And you see that Zerg just basically has no units whatsoever. He may be wondering, okay, well, why haven't you left this game, though? Because I mean, Sunkens aren't going to win you the game, so he may start, exploring the rest of the map to make sure there's nothing hidden.
I would assume so, right? Usually a Zerg would leave, knowing that they're on 2 base and the Protoss at least even has a 3rd, which is all that's been confirmed so far from DuGu. Yeah, who knows? I mean, if mid right's allowed to just sit by itself and goes unscouted, he can get a bunch of static defense there and maybe continue the game.
Oh, and just got scouted. And that single zealot that shows itself at mid right may trigger the GG. There's just nothing that DuGu can do. He's so far down. It's just helpless at this point. He has mutas. He has 6 mutas. There's more Corsairs than there are mutas. He doesn't have anything to support the mutas either. Just 6 Scourge. So that means Zhanhun, he's going to be our champion of BSL15 Asian Championship. Here come the Scourge and the mutas. This has to be the last-ditch effort from DuGu. He put up a valiant effort, a good show, but in the end, it's Protoss that's going to reign supreme today.
Yeah, Zhanhun, man, I'm glad we get to see it. I was listening to your cast last season, and I heard you calling his name out quite a few times, and I'm just glad to see it's played out that way, right? Like, he truly is a phenomenal Protoss player at a really high caliber, man, and he's a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah, and it's nice when you see them show their true talent, right? Like, you could see the talent last season, ended up falling short, and this time around, he's going to get the victory. So it's nice to see that he actually didn't choke. He put on a good show. He's going to knock down DuGu, who went undefeated through the winner's bracket, even took down Mihu himself. He's desperately trying to take another 3rd base. I mean, this is a pretty strong defense, but you're just going to run out of money eventually.
Yeah, you definitely will. You can't be on such low economy and deal with, a Protoss player. Big storms going down on the last 2 remaining lurkers here. Sunkens are falling. Corsairs get some big damage in, just wrecking what's left of this Zerg Air Force. And yeah, I mean, he's done it, man. He really has. Our champion of Asia is going to be Zhanhun, and with that, GG is called.
Yep, congrats to him. He played exceptionally well in this tournament. I'm trying to think of who even knocked him out. It wasn't DuGu, right? Who was it? I can't remember exactly.
No, it was Zhao Shuai, I think. I think it was Zhao Shuai. So he, the only series he ended up falling was to a Zerg player, and it was 3-0 no less. So, he has his bad days, I guess, as well. But man, he still phenomenal showing. He pulled it out, when it mattered, and got a big victory here against DuGu.
Yeah, and he's going to be the champion, but it was impressive play from a lot of the Chinese players. Like, I don't recognize DuGu, didn't know who Zhao Shuai was. Like, I play a lot of Chinese on the ladder, like Xuan, I even played him too, but these Bus Terran, I've never played him either. And clearly there's a lot of Chinese talent. Like, a lot of them, I think if you rerun the bracket, we could have a different champion, probably like 5 times in a row. Like, I actually thought Bus Terran was going to take it simply because of how well he played TVZ. Like, he looked like, I was watching it, it's like, okay, is this Mihu? But then I look at the player name and I'm like, oh wait, that's Bus Terran. So there's actually a ton of talent in China, and when we get to the actual World Cup of BSL, where all the Chinese players are going to be facing against the other foreigners, I think it's going to be really tough for the foreigners to take any of them down.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you, man. There's a lot of talent, a lot of depth to China that, is really still kind of unleashing itself and making itself available, to all of us tuning in for these BSL casts. But man, Zhao Shuai, Mihu, J-Star, Bus Terran, there's some big names in this region, some incredible players, and yeah, obviously it's going to be DuGu moving on, as well as Zhanhun, and then who's third? I'm not sure who third place was. Was it
Zhao Shuai? Yeah.
It was Zhao Shuai. Okay, so yeah, those 3 players will be moving on. And they're going to be a force to be reckoned with here in the foreign scene. So kind of interested to see how this one, those matches are going to end up going.
Yeah, it will be very tough for the foreigners, I imagine. And once we get to that stage, I hope we see as aggressive plays as we did in Asia, because then we'll get to compare, like, how do foreigners deal with the aggression from these Chinese players? Because players like Fangzi, like, they faced J-Star multiple times, double 2-gate, and he held it very well, but versus weaker players, probably they're just going to crumble. So that's one thing that I'll be looking for, just to see like how well foreigners can deal with the ultra all-in style that we've seen from the majority of the Chinese player that we've seen in this particular championship. But that's it for us, right, Machine? We're done with Asia, and we've got Latin America coming up next.
Yeah, it's going to be Latin America coming up next. This was it for our Asia region. I'm kind of interested to see how LATAM is going to play out and see who ends up facing off against these Asia champions. But yeah, man, this has been a lot of fun.
Yeah, it has been a lot of fun. I'm looking at the player list. So speaking of aggro, I don't know if it gets more aggressive. We've got Gosu Dark, and then we've got another very aggro player in Terror, but sometimes he plays super passive. So that's going to be exciting games, and you guys should definitely not go anywhere, because we'll be back in a few minutes. I think me and Machine are done, but we're going to have 2 different casters, and the games are going to be great. So definitely don't go anywhere. We'll be back with some very exciting Latin America games.